Hi, it's just Steph. I just wanted to preface by saying I don't know that I'm going to after this video put anything else up. You have to excuse me. My eyes been really irritated and I don't know why. Um anyway, black circles are getting really black. But anyway, um I just feel like whatever I'm putting out is boring. Like my kid told me one time a long time ago I was boring. That's why I had put some videos up and then I was like a long gap before I put anything else up. Um, so maybe I am boring, but I'm not. I'm not trying to be some big YouTube star or some influencer. I don't even know what that means, but I just try to put stuff out that I think's important for people to know. And but apparently, like factual information that you can go and research um, is not interesting to people. People go to big splashy thumbnails, with like alarming titles. I think there's a name for that. I can't clickbaity stuff, or like I'm not political. I'm not here to bash any other channels. I see people online who are like will put up someone else's channel or they'll talk about the content creator and just give off all the reasons why they think that's a horrible person and everything. It's like I can go watch someone and decide for myself if I want to watch that person's content. Like I don't need everyone else's opinion on everything, and you know, and then I don't know. It just seems like to get a lot of traction in this world. I don't know. I don't know what you have to do, but that's just not my intent. I don't make any money. I'm not. I'm not. I'm just. I've said this before. I'm just a person who sits on my couch and talks about things. But there's no point putting out content if it's stuff that people don't want to hear or they're not interested or they don't want to go and verify it for themselves. But I wanted to talk about the medical system. And okay, when Mike and I moved out here, we came back to PA from North Carolina, 2 years in North Carolina, which was absolutely horrible. I mean, nothing against the state. It was just a little tiny town we ended up in. It was just miserable. And I told him one day, I said, we're going to put our house in storage. And I got online and I looked for like the cheapest camper that would just get us home and something we could live in for a while. And I did. I found an old 84 Class C motorhome for, forget what we paid, like 15 or 1800. It was like under 2000. I said, I don't care if the thing just gets us to the Pennsylvania border. If I just say, well, if I see welcome to PA, welcome to Pennsylvania, and the thing dies, that's fine. It's like as long as I just need to get out of this town. So that's what we did. And at the time when we moved out here, I didn't know I had complex regional pain because for like 5.5 years, doctors were literally lying to me, literally lying, telling me I needed a knee replacement when I didn't need a knee replacement. But they would never show me the x-rays. So I wasn't able to see that for myself until the doctor who actually tentatively diagnosed it and put the x-ray up in front of my face and I saw good spacing on either side. I mean, I've had arthritis in my knees for decades now. Um, but I looked at the x-rays and I thought, well, there's plenty of cartilage in there. There's pretty much the spacing between the left and the right knee is even. Had a couple little bone spurs, but it was nothing. I was told I had bone on bone, and I mean, they straight up lied to me. And I ended up getting 3 surgeries that I absolutely did not need because they lied to me, because I was so desperate for some pain relief. But I'm not supposed to get upset about that stuff. You're just supposed to go, oh, well, that's okay, because either they're experts that you have to trust what they say, mindlessly just go, well, they're the experts, so they must know better than I do. Or you have to give them a pass and go, well, they all make mistakes. They're humans, okay? Even though I was a paramedic, it was always a learning process for me. Nobody knows everything about everything. The problem with our medical system is you really don't have options. Doctors will either give you a pill, do a test, send you to another doctor, or they want to cut out part of your body. That's pretty much what they do. If it's something beyond, like if they can't fix it by doing a surgery or giving you a pill, they will kick you to another doctor, and then that doctor will kick you, and you will get kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked. And I'm tired of being kicked, but I don't have the money for any natural anymore. I mean, I was treating myself with natural stuff. I Just my house and my bills alone cost more than my monthly income. So I don't even have, I worry like if I run out of dish soap, because I don't like to buy that cheapo like dollar stuff at Dollar Tree because it's real thin and you go through it in a couple of days anyhow. So I try to buy the big containers, but that's like $10. I don't have it. So I'm sick of everyone going, oh, well, we have the best health care in the world here. No, we don't. But apparently it's gotten to the point where, it's bad enough we live in like a complete police state to begin with. And when I say police, I don't mean the literal police, although they are part of it. I'm talking about surveillance, losing rights, having to toe the line, being afraid, if a cop pulls you over or something, you might get your head blown off or, I was a cop, but I don't even like being around these. I don't like, if I got pulled over, which I typically don't, but I have been pulled over in the past. And, I roll my own cigarettes. And I went to reach over to get my roller like this. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, like, oh my God, they're going to think I'm reaching for something. And I went, excuse me. I said, I pointed and, I had two deputies on either side like this, watching me like a hawk. And I'm thinking, I'm an old lady sitting I had a Chevy HHR at the time. I was pulled over because my inspection ran out. And anyway, so when I say police state, I'm just talking about the state being the government in general. And our medical system, and I'm calling it a medical system, not a healthcare system, because it's not about health. You better wake up, people. It's not about health. It's about giving you as many of these things as they can possibly get into you. And if you would research, if you would just look up the excipient table, and someone needs to explain to me how it's healthy for the children to be getting, I don't know, upwards of 70 some of these. When you look at the excipients, because I can't say them because I'm here on YouTube, because we can't say anything on here. Um, that's how I ended up with CRPS. My doctor railed on me and railed on me to get a flu booper. And finally, just to shut her up, I went. And for 13 years, I have suffered miserably in this body. And I'm not like trying to say, oh, poor me. But yeah, when I say suffer, I've suffered. And now I'm at a point where I can't afford even to get some supplements. I don't know how I'm going to keep up with my house, but I can't afford to sell my house because I can't even afford an apartment. It's cheaper for me to have this house than to have an apartment. But anyway, so I went through Geisinger Health System. I remember going to their urgent care one time. I think I was having a problem with my hand. I didn't know I had carpal tunnel syndrome either in both hands. And Mike and I sat in the waiting room, I think, for 3 hours, just so I could be taken back in a room where I think it was the PA came in, and I forget exactly. I think it was something with my hand. And she just said to me, "Well, there's nothing we can do about that." I said, "Well, could I at least have an ACE bandage?" She said, "No, we don't do that here." So 3 hours we sat there just so I could be told, "No, we don't handle that here because we're a medical facility, and no, we can't even give you an ACE bandage, like to just give you a little pain relief till you can, I don't know, go to 10,000 more providers." It's ridiculous. So then I found a doctor with Mount Nittany because I went through I don't know how many primary providers at Geisinger. So I found one at Mount Nittany. He was horrible. So I went back to Geisinger for a while, was seeing a nurse practitioner. She was about as brain dead as they come. And so I finally decided, well, because I found my hand surgeon through Penn State Health, and he's like the only doctor I've seen in probably 30 years that was even remotely human. Um, and I don't have any complaints about him, but the rest of the system. So before I get into this letter real quickly, let me give you, because this letter is about my historic behavior in their clinics and with their staff. Let me give you some of my history with Penn State Health. So when I finally got a tentative diagnosis of the CRPS, which was, I don't know how many years ago, but I fell the end of 2012, like August, September, somewhere in there. And it took like 5.5 years to get a tentative diagnosis. So do the math. I don't know. Um, so after I got, I don't know if the diagnosis had been confirmed because I drove all the way to New Jersey. It was like a 6 hour ride one way to see a doctor who specializes in it so he could confirm the diagnosis, which he did. But I don't know at this point whether it had been confirmed yet or not. But the doctor who tentatively diagnosed it said, well, pain management are the people who treat this. So I made an appointment at Hershey, Penn State Health, Hershey being the main, it's like our regional trauma center here. And I went to their pain management. Mike and I are sitting in the exam room. A nurse practitioner walked in. She looked at me and she said, "You couldn't possibly have CRPS. You wouldn't be able to stand those clothing you're wearing." What? Oh, I didn't get the memo. I was supposed to show up with no clothing. Or, I believe it was summertime. I had a pair of shorts, I think a t-shirt. I hadn't graduated to these yet because I'm at the point now where I can't stand anything on, but I have to wear something. Um, I thought, what a ridiculous thing. Yeah, she hadn't even asked me a single question. Those were the first words out of her mouth, but I thought, all right, well, whatever. And she said she wanted to do a diagnostic nerve block on my leg. And I said, there is no diagnostics for CRPS. It's an exclusionary diagnosis, which is exactly what the doctor who definitively diagnosed this told me. And all the research I'd done before that said that it's an exclusionary diagnosis. And frankly, in my opinion, fibromyalgia, CRPS, EHS, chronic fatigue, they're all in the same room, so to speak. They're all kind of manifestations of the same thing. That's my opinion. But anyway, so next time, next time I went to pain management was during the great CVID thing. We all had to wear the suffocation devices. And I'm talking to, again, I don't know what nurse practitioner or PA, I don't know what she was. And apparently I was fidgeting because I couldn't breathe in those things. And I guess without realizing, I had pulled it down to here. And I didn't even know. And she looked at me at one point. She goes, "If you don't put that back up over your nose, we're going to have to reschedule this appointment." She was like really super nasty. And I was like, I didn't even realize. But it's like, why can you not just say, "Oh, excuse me, but you need to," which was ridiculous because they don't do anything. But whatever. Okay, then I go back and I see an actual doctor this time. And I asked for a few things, and they said, no, we don't do that here. She did say she would send me for ketamine infusions because they're good for releasing contractures, which these are very common with CRPS. And as you can see, my surgeries failed massively. So I'm just back to square one. And the last thing she offered me, um, she said she'd write a script for ketamine infusions. Problem is, I would have had to go to Jefferson and Philly, and I said, well, logistically that wouldn't work because we wouldn't have anywhere to stay. We don't have money for a hotel. Mike didn't have a license. He would have had to drive me to and from the appointments. I said, we've got animals. I mean, it's too much. We wouldn't be able to do that. She said, well, I can give you a central nerve block in your neck, but it might paralyze you for the rest of your life. So I declined because the way my luck goes, I said, no, I'm not willing to take that chance. And she literally said, well, there's nothing else we can do for you. Then in my notes, you know how they have these portals now? You can go in and you can like read what they wrote about you. First of all, one person said I had CRPS of my lower extremity. The other one said I had it in my upper extremity, or they said it was both or whatever. And I'm thinking, you people aren't even on the same page. It's At one point I had called just a pain management, like a standalone pain management clinic. And the girl that answered the phone was trying to tell me you can't get CRPS in your hands or your arms. It's only in the lower extremities, which is completely wrong. Because if you research it, you can get full body CRPS. So I gave up on that. And um, she told me on the way out, like, there's nothing more we can do for you. And somewhere along the line in the notes, somebody said something about that, I hadn't bothered to return for something. And I was like, well, why would I return when you already told me there is nothing more we can do for you? Well, that translated to me like, there's nothing else we're going to do for you. So why would I go back? It was like an hour ride anyway. But so after I gave up on Geisinger and Mount Nittany for a family doctor, I went to Penn State Health because I liked the surgeon I had. And I thought, well, maybe their family doctors are a little nicer. So, um, so I went and I saw this doctor. She was an osteopath. I historically liked osteopaths because they're just a little more open to not just writing prescriptions. Um, but on my first visit, we kind of got into a little tiff. She was provoking it. I mean, I don't want to go into details about what it was over, but I finally got frustrated and I said, F it. And I got up and I said, I'm not doing this. And I walked out, and then Mike decided he was going to stay behind and like do some arguing on my behalf, or I don't know, whatever he was doing. And I was mad at him. I mean, I got in the truck, I came up, I parked it in front of their door, and I went in and I said, could you please get my boyfriend from back there? Because I'm ready to go home. And so I went around the back and he was yakking with her. And I said, look, I just want to go home. I said, I don't need you to stand here and argue my case. I'm done here. Let's go. I wasn't calling anybody any names. I wasn't screaming and yelling at anyone. I wasn't yelling or making a scene out in the waiting room. And, apparently that's what this letter's about. So anyway, it goes on, but I'll spare you all the other appointments and phone calls and so forth. But I get this letter, Penn State Health. It is the goal of the entire treatment team to have a safe, I'm so sick of that word safe, and clinically healthy environment for our patients in order to give the best care. Yeah, because you really do. In order to safely care for you, because I'm such a public safety risk, Penn State Health Medical Group would like to communicate our expectations of your behavior. It doesn't matter if you have expectations of their behavior, just so you know. That's kind of what this letter's trying to tell you. Okay? Medicine's getting to the point where, like, if you don't toe the line, if you don't take all the pills that we want to ram down your throat, if you're lucky enough, I can't even get that far. I mean, I can't even get a doctor to write a prescription that I could just take home and throw the prescription away. But I can't get them to do anything. But Your historic behavior in our clinics and with our staff has greatly inhibited our ability to care for you and was disruptive to the staff and other patients. No, it wasn't, because you'll find out here in the next sentence. On November 13th, 2024, the clinic staff called you. They called me on my phone, which is right here in my living room. I don't have other patients waiting around in my living room. Staff called you, and during that call, you used derogatory terms and inappropriate language about the clinic provider and staff, abruptly ending the call. Okay, I don't remember exactly what I said, but here's the deal. Mike had just passed away. I called them because she wanted me to go for another MRI on my head. I called them and I said, I am putting everything on hold right now. I explained what happened with Mike. I said, I just need some time. Like, I wasn't being rude or anything to anybody. And that phone call referenced in this letter was her office calling me. I don't know if it was a nurse or, well, let me back up just a hair. When the nurse called me to tell me about the tumor in my head, she's laughing. She's like, oh, it's nothing. Yeah, well, it's not in your head, is it? I don't know that it's nothing. I mean, they're typically benign, what I have, meningioma. But I just need another MRI to see if this thing has grown because I don't know how long it's been in my head because the doctor I had at Geisinger never bothered to address it. So, so over the phone, her office called me to tell me they had scheduled the MRI. I said, well, it doesn't suit me. I said, I called and told you guys that I would, it was just putting everything on hold, that I would get back to you and let you know when I was ready to go ahead. And also, that doctor was supposed to refer me to a neurologist, a neurosurgeon, an orthopedic surgeon, or an orthopedic doctor because I've had pain in my shoulder for, I don't know, 3, 4 years now. Still don't know what's wrong with it because nobody's ordered an MRI or anything. And so I don't know. It took me like 2 years just to get to PT. The poor guy didn't know what he was trying to fix. And it was actually getting worse. And he's the one that called me and said, I don't think we should continue because I don't really know what I'm trying to fix. And without a diagnosis, I said, yeah, I understand. And I don't want it to get worse. But anyway, this phone call, um, she said to me, well, if you want to cancel it, you can cancel it. And I said, well, why do I have to cancel it? I already told you I didn't want you to proceed with anything. And, I said, I'm an adult. I can make my own appointments when I'm good and ready. Um, but the point is, the doctor was supposed to refer me to these other specialists, and I was never notified. And whoever was on the phone with me got snippy. She goes, well, all those referrals were made. How was I supposed to know? Like by ESP? I don't know, carrier pigeon. I didn't get any emails or it was nothing. I even went through the patient portal. There was nothing in there at all, ever, about any uh the word was referrals to these specialists. But I'm getting chastised for my behavior, and I got upset with this woman, and I'm like, great. So now one extra thing I have to do, I have to cancel this appointment that I didn't want in the first place, and I already told you people I didn't want you to do anything till I was ready, but whatever. And the next thing, I get this letter, and it goes on, and it says you will be expected to follow these guidelines and other rules while at any Penn State Health location. And it says I will treat staff with and providers and any other individuals in the office with respect, whether you are attending an appointment, speaking via phone, or communicating electronically, including the patient portal. You will refrain from yelling, screaming, threatening, using vulgar language, or harassing staff. Like, I didn't do any of this. I mean, I was angry because I guess I wasn't speaking English. But like I said, it was just perfectly fine for them to snap at me, to not follow through with these referrals that were supposed to be made. And like I said, no one ever did bother to tell me how I was supposed to know those referrals were put in. Well, who am I supposed to go see? I, you know, because if I didn't need a referral, then I could have just picked someone and gone to see them. Like I'm kind of confused about all this, but um, so anyway, yeah, I'm kind of upset about all this, but you know, I'm done with medical doctors, and I don't have any money to, well, try to find a naturopath out here where I live. It's pretty much impossible. I did drive all the way to Philly, I don't know, a year or two back, shelled out like $650 to see this guy. I think 3 appointments, one in person, two over the phone. And basically, all he did was tell me to continue the supplements that I was already taking. Didn't really add anything. But I need the regular medical system, just like for tests, blood work. I need an MRI of my head. Um, I feel like crap, but that's where we're at with medical care, medical system. The only way you're going to get care is if you comply. Take all these that they recommend. Don't do any research on them. Don't look up the excipient table and see what they put in these things. No, I don't want them because a guy got them, and then I ended up with an autoimmune disease. If you go back far enough in time, you'll see all this stuff didn't exist. Autoimmune, allergies, asthma, chronic cardiovascular disease, diabetes type 2, um, hypertension did not exist. You have to go back before allopathic medicine was established. We didn't have pharmaceuticals and we didn't have chronic disease. You can add those. 1 + 1 = 2. But that's where we're at. We're in the medical industrial police state now. If you don't do as you're told, or if you, I don't know, hurt someone's feelings, because I don't even know how this letter got instigated. I guess the lady that was on the phone with me, like I said, I fail to understand how I um, disrupted the other patients when I was. This is specifically about a phone call they made to me, and my phone is here in the living room. So, you know, but like I said, I don't think I'm going to continue with this. It's not really interesting, and I'm sorry if I'm boring. And um, if I have something else, I may throw up a video, but I might not. I'm not going to delete the channel, but I'm probably not going to do this. So anyway, I hope people do some research, and if people would start standing up. But see, that's the problem when you are like one of very, very, very few people who will stand up for themselves, like I always do. It just backfires because no one else ever does it. Everybody just gets in line and shuffles along and does what they're told to do. And this is where we end up. Thank you. Bye.